and a letter to the Chief Justice to appoint a liaison contact. Then the 6th February letter, which forwarded the CJ's letter to the Ministry of Defense and Veterans Affairs and the DPP. And the 14th February letter, which is also coming, but which I have a soft copy, where we corrected the decree and sent it back to the lawyers.
Now, you're answering my number 5 of my question. Number 1 was, how, as legal advisors of government, what appropriate advice have you given for the continued pre-trial on detention of an ailing, and here I'm saying ailing, Dr. Besigye?
Madam Speaker, in that situation, the suspect would be produced before the appropriate court, in this case the High Court, and granted bail.
Has the file been transferred from court martial to the civil court, civilian court, to the civilian court?
Madam Speaker, I have spoken to the chairman of the General Court Martial, who instructed the director of prosecutions of the court martial, who I also spoke to, and all that they are waiting for their file is this decree, which now we have. But we deny any responsibility for the late extraction of the decree.
Yes. Yes.
Thank you very much, Right Honourable Speaker. Right Honourable Speaker, this judgment was given inter partes. Government was represented in a court. Number 2, we no longer, by the way, extract decrees. Chairman Mao, my colleague, we no longer extract decrees for purposes of execution. Court decisions by nature, especially at the level of Supreme Court, are self-executing. You don't need a decree to act. So if judgment was passed inter partes, what more are you getting from a decree? What exactly more are you looking for in a decree? So I really think that perhaps we could use other arguments, but let extraction of a decree, by the way, with or without a decree, that judgment is self-executing. You ought to have acted even without any hesitation. Unfortunately, because you see the danger with mentioning the decree, you have many other people who are affected by that decision of the Supreme Court who don't have lawyers. What happens to them? What happens to them? So I think, Right Honourable Speaker, it is advisable that Chairman Mao and Executive, you use other reasons for delaying the release of Dr. Besigye other than a decree.
And as we talk about the delayed release or transfer to the civilian court, I asked you, under what legal regime, legal basis, are you using to keep him there? We are not saying that Dr. Besigye is clean. He could be having a case to answer. He could be having a case to answer, but he should be taken to the proper court for him to be able to answer. Under what legal regime?
Madam Speaker, I think it is obvious that when you have been remanded by a court, and the court martial is a court, It is only the boundaries of the court-martial that have been delineated by the Supreme Court. The court-martial has not been abolished. The court-martial has not been abolished. The court-martial is the one that remanded Colonel Kizza Besigye. Now, the release of Colonel Kizza Besigye will be ordered by the court, the appropriate court, when he is taken before that court.
Honorable Mao, when you look at Article 23 of the Constitution, protection of personal liberty, no person shall be deprived of personal liberty except in any of the following cases: in execution of the sentence or order of the court. Now here, the court ordered that Dr. Besigye should be what? Released. Now you're depriving him his liberty.
Madam Speaker, first, I hope this Parliament is persuaded that we did our duty as the Ministry of Justice. We did our duty. We responded very quickly because these letters which we wrote were about the Supreme Court. Now, the Supreme Court did not order the release of anybody.
There's an